I need a 30 for 30 to show that I'm different like Jordan and Pippen. I need a 30 for 30 like Jalen and Webber. Nobody gon' fuck with my click. I need a 30 for 30. All right, man, I'm happy to be here with my brother Ray Cesar Leo again for another segment. How about them Cowboys? What's that name?
Man, I'm good. I'm a little conflicted. About
Really?
last week's results, but other than that, I'm good. As always, happy to be on the show, man.
Okay, well, talk to me. Why are you conflicted? You beat one of your rivals from the past. You got bragging rights in the group with all the homies and things like that.
Absolutely.
What is one game back in the NFC East now?
So that's the good part, right? So there's two good parts. One, once again, the Cowboys spanked the Niners. That's always a good feeling. I feel like in the last 6 or 7 meetings, we've beaten them all but one time. So that's always good. Because when you got my brother Joe, TJ, Clay, when you got all these Niners fans that want to tell you how trash your team is, right? And how their teams are built for longevity and prosperity, and yours isn't. It's just a good feeling, right? Because bang, bang, as they say. So that's just a good feeling because you can always say, well, y'all wasn't too good when you played against the Cowboys, right? So that part is good. I'm happy about that.
Right.
I'm also half and half on the fact that we're winning. That's our first, winning streak, back-to-back wins this season. So that's cool. And in a sense, we're right there still somehow, some way with postseason possibilities. But the more I say that, the further and further away we get from solid, and I want to say sure first round draft picks, but just the possibility of picking up top caliber talent. So that's why I'm conflicted at. I've told you this, and I've said this many times on this show. As a competitor, you want to win. So that's the competitive side of me. But as a fan, I realize that we aren't going anywhere long term this season. We may make it to the playoffs. If a miracle happens and everything plays out, we can, earn that NFC East spot. But we're still going to lose in the first round to whoever they put in front of us. Seahawks, your Packers, the Saints, the Buccaneers, Alabama.
All right.
You know what I mean? Whoever it is, we're going to lose. So I have to keep that in mind, that as excited as I am and as impressed that I am as the way they've been competing, I still have to realize, man, they can roll in the Clemson Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide, and we're still going to be in trouble.
Get it together.
I'm just telling you. Did you see Alabama play Florida? They're impressive.
Yeah. I saw some clips, yeah.
Yes. So then you would know. Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Who you got as your Cowboy of the week, man?
Man, the Cowboy of the week is Tony Pollard. Just the fact that he's able to show up knowing that Zeke is going to be down that week and knowing that a huge bulk of the carries, and not just carries, but touches in general, are going to fall upon him. I think he played well, man. 130 yards plus in total offense as rushing and receiving. Had a nice breakaway run there late in the game to kind of help us seal the deal. Tony Pollard is a guy that I've seen grow, and he's still on that first contract, so he's still hungry. It's what Zeke should look like with the explosiveness and just, the stick-to-itiveness, if you will. Tony Pollard, to me, for last week is my Cowboy of the week. Had a hell of a game. So shouts out to Tony Pollard.
Now, who y'all got coming up?
Coming up, man, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. And more importantly, we have a newfound energized Philadelphia Eagles. Even though they lost against the Arizona Cardinals last week, Jalen Hurts has really changed the attitude of that Philadelphia Eagles squad. Ray Coleman personally doesn't like to give the Philadelphia Eagles any credit. Out of all the teams in the NFC East, I hate the Philadelphia Eagles the most.
Okay, I've heard that from Skip Bayless.
Yeah.
I've heard that from Rob Patty.
Yeah.
And now I'm hearing from you. Why do y'all hate the Eagles the most out of that division?
Because out of that division, they talk the most trash. And out of that division, one can argue that like in the last 3-4 years, they had the most success. But overall, they have been trash. One championship and a bunch of nothing to show for it, man. Even when Donovan McNabb was there and they thought they were hitting, they weren't. They weren't, man. So I don't have a lot of patience for Philadelphia Eagles, the team, nor the fans. They're just like over. They're underachievers in every sense of the word. Like if you have Donovan McNabb and T.O. and Brian Westbrook and all these guys that have come along the way, Andy Reid at one point who's winning Super Bowls now, if you have all of that lined up, you should produce something. And you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But they're the main ones that want to call out the flaws of the Dallas Cowboys. But one can argue that they've had better quarterback play, definitely better head coaching play throughout these, last decade and some change. And so I don't have anything, no respect, no love for the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't, never have, never will.
So
never
y'all
have.
feel about the Eagles the way we as Packer fans feel about the Bears then?
Yes, exactly. Look, I'll give it to you like this. A good friend of mine that passed away recently, Mike Sands, longtime sports broadcaster, rest in peace, Mike Sands, my guy. He was a diehard. He's from Philly, so obviously he was a diehard Philadelphia Eagles fan. Man, we would have knockdown, drag out arguments about like his team and what they did and how great they were. And I just told him, like, dude, they're trash. I told him 2 years ago that Carson Wentz was trash. I'm glad that I told him then when he was still around. You get what I'm saying? So he knew that I wasn't just picking on him. Jalen Hurts, with what they have now, which is the same thing that Carson Wentz had back then, right? The team looks totally different because they have a guy that they can believe in. They have a guy that actually gets it. I never believed in Carson. Yeah, go ahead.
Talk to me about this then. As somebody, as a Cowboy fan, seeing this guy, Carson Wentz, twice a year, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Because you see the Eagles twice a year.
Yeah.
What is it about him that they don't want to be led by him? Because like when they had Nick Foles, and they let him go, didn't they build like a shrine to Nick Foles?
Yeah.
When he's gone and
because Nick, as much as I clown the Philadelphia Eagles, what Philadelphia fans respect? Guts. Just going out and competing. Carson Wentz stepped into that role when Nick Foles stepped into that role when Carson Wentz went down and just said, we have the pieces to make a run. Let's just do it and see what happens. And he competed on the greatest stage against the greatest quarterback and said, let's do this and see what we match up. That's Philly culture, right? I don't care who you are, where you're from. Let's just line up and see what happens. Carson Wentz has this aura where he's like, I can get it done no matter what. Well, it's not always no matter what. It's just take the smart play. A lot of times Carson Wentz will make dumb plays when he doesn't have to. I've always thought that about him. He has a cannon of an arm, very mobile, but he just makes dumb plays and makes like critical mistakes at the worst times in the game, man. So that's why I've never really been high on Carson Wentz. He's beat us a couple of times, don't get me wrong. But I've never feared Carson Wentz when we played the Philadelphia Eagles. I've always felt like no matter who is the quarterback, the coach, whatever, Romo, Dak, Jason Garrett, Jerry Jones, doesn't matter. We got a shot to beat the Philadelphia Eagles as long as Carson Wentz is playing. I'm actually nervous to play the Philadelphia Eagles this weekend because with Jalen Hurts, there's a guy who's playing with the utmost confidence, even though he just came off an L. But he's also not going to step outside of the box. He's going to stay within the constraints of the game plan and his abilities. And he's a smart young man, so he's not going to do too much. His team is going to be in the game until the very end. And in the NFL, that's all you want because, no matter if you are the Green Bay Packers or if you're the New Orleans Saints or the Kansas City Chiefs, for the most part, the NFL is parity. So all you want to do is have a shot to be in it down the stretch. And then you want to see where you can make plays. Jalen Hurts gives his team an opportunity against us this Sunday.
So who you got? Do you think? Do you want this win? Now,
no.
Because you just expressed how much you hate this team.
I get it. I get it.
But I know you want to have. Hold on. Let me back off of that.
Okay.
Do you trust your scouting department? Because I'm asking that because let's say if I'm the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys,
yeah,
I'll be telling Jerry, I came here to win football games.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change the losing mentality here. I understand you want a higher draft pick, but that's why you pay those guys. You pay
Yeah.
those scouts to be able to find guys.
Figure it out. That's
No
right.
matter where we draft,
Yeah.
you find them. You see
It's
what
a
I'm saying?
valid point. Yeah.
That would be me because pretty much every week you talk about culture, and how it needs to be changed.
Yeah.
So to that point, is there a reason to not trust y'all scouting department over there? Like, do y'all guys miss a lot in later rounds and stuff like that?
It's not a reason to not trust them.
Mhm.
Like I said, from the competitive side of me, if I'm Mike McCarthy, man, if I'm Jerry Jones or Stephen Jones for that matter, you definitely want to go after the win because the Giants are playing the Baltimore Ravens. So you know the Ravens are going to be out ready to win. They're going to compete because they got bigger aspirations, right? The Washington Redskins are playing the Carolina Panthers. That's an evenly matched game, if you ask me. So we're there, man. If those two teams lose, we beat the Eagles, well, we're right there. So I understand every inclination to go for the dub. It makes sense when you say it like that, when you write it out like that, it all makes sense. I'm still of the mindset, what does it mean long term? The Dallas Cowboys are not going to win a Super Bowl this year. Just got to be real about it. They're not even going to win a playoff game. You'll make it to the playoffs, but what does it really mean? It just means that you're the best of the worst this year. This year, you're the best of the worst. Look, man, there have been some years where the Cowboys have won the division, and the team behind them has one loss. Like a couple of years ago, Dak's rookie year, Zeke's rookie year, we won the division, but the Giants were right behind us with just one loss. We won like 13 games, and the Giants had 12. So it's not about being the worst, the best of the worst all the time. Sometimes, and a lot of times, the NFC East is just neck to neck, back to back at all times. It just so happens to be this year, they're all bad. So you win it, and your consolation is you just go and get the crap kicked out of you in the first round, the wild card round. For me, for Ray the fan, it doesn't mean much. But to Jerry Jones, to Mike McCarthy, to Stephen Jones, I can understand why you would want to win this game. If they win, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to come back here and have my head hanging because, like I said, anytime the Philadelphia Eagles lose, it's just as sweet, if not sweeter, than when we beat the 49ers, right? So
Right.
it's all good in that realm. It's all good in that realm. But just long term for me, it doesn't hold much value long term.
Mike McCarthy, last thing. I always got to
Yeah.
check in with you on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
What grade are you giving Mike from last week's game?
I give Mike McCarthy a C for last game because at the end of the day, he didn't try and do too much, right? His defense gave him 2 turnovers early, which led to points. And at that point, you just want to make sure that you don't do anything bullish or ridiculous to give the 49ers the game back, right? 2 teams suffering from a lot of injuries. It's one of those games where if I was on here with TJ or Joe or Clay, we could have that argument like we always have, like who has it worse when it comes to injuries. So you kind of have it on that front. But at the same time, I give him credit for not screwing it up. He's won back-to-back games, so you got to give him a thumbs up for that, even though he beat a second and third string quarterback against the Cincinnati Bengals, and then he beat our guy, Nick Mullins from Southern Miss. At the end of the day, wins a win. They're always hard to come by. We're playing with a backup too. So if the 49ers won, Joe, TJ, and Clay will be saying the same thing. A win is a win, right? I'm not going to take anything away from him, but I still stand by my statement. With Mike McCarthy, you know what you're going to get. Right now, he's driving an old beat-up Pinto, and he's still driving it like it's a Ferrari. Okay, so he hasn't learned that you got to put work into this car. You got to make sure the oil is changed, the tires are, at the right pressure, that you make sure the alternator's looking good, all of those different things. When he gets that Ferrari next year, when everybody comes back and we're 10, 100%, he's going to drive it like a Ferrari. But did he learn his lesson? Because even Ferraris break down. They have routine maintenance. All right. Are you going to learn your lesson? So when it comes time, when you see that check engine light come on in that Ferrari, Are you going to pull over and get that maintenance? Or are you going to keep on driving through and saying, we'll see what we can do? I'm of the mindset that Mike McCarthy has not learned his lesson, and he's going to break that Ferrari. Just like he's driving the Pinto like a Ferrari right now, he's going to break that Ferrari next year. That's why I will always say that Mike McCarthy is not the right guy. If he wins the Super Bowl, I'll come on here and say I'm wrong, and I'll be jubilant and tears in my eyes and all those different things because I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, right?
Right.
I may be wrong, but a wise man once said, I doubt
it. Well, that is another segment of How About Them Cowboys with Ray. Appreciate you, boy.
My man, love as always.
Go.
Subscribe to our daddy's YouTube channel. He's the best. Hit the like button, turn on the notifications.